So this video goes hand in hand with the video I made yesterday, and it's exemplified by videos like the latest Garen and Yorick one. The question is, does champion select matter at all in ranked? Of course it does, but just how much does it matter? There is a lot of conflicting advice given on forums like Reddit. Some players suggest that you play whatever you want, since whatever really works in solo queue works. Some suggest that you try to counter your opponent's picks. Some suggest that you vehemently follow the meta and play what is deemed OP at the time. And others are only playing one champion, so their opinion doesn't matter. In my personal opinion, champion select is incredibly important, and you can definitely lose games because of bad champion picks. However, I don't believe you're supposed to pick the top champions every single game or anything like that. I strongly believe that the smartest picks for the situation are the best if you're playing within your skill range. If you're leveling past bronze and you're a diamond player on a smurf or something, then you can likely just stomp it with whoever you pick. However, in a division that you belong in, you can make up for deficiencies of mechanics of you or your teammates by making smart champion choices. The golden rule of solo queue is this: everyone is drowning and you have to climb the dead bodies of your teammates to avoid doing so. You cannot rely on your teammates to not suck and die. You can't expect your teammates to pick something that supports your champion choice or counters the enemy picks. I'm certain you have all been in this situation at least once. Your opponents pick Katarina and your team picks nothing that can actually stop her. Hell, I've been in a game where Katarina is picked first for the enemy team and my team locked in Jungle Master Yi, Support Kama, and top was Rengar. Sure, Katarina could suck, but relying on your opponents to fail is wholly unreliable and silly. Needless to say, none of us could stop Katarina and she destroyed us. Sometimes even your favorite pick becomes the worst choice you could make. Even the most overpowered champion can see a time that they are simply countered and left unsupported. The Yorick game from the other day showed you just how poorly the enemy team composition was against ours and how they basically picked into a poorer situation. They couldn't do a damn thing and got horribly destroyed in fights. The Nasus couldn't even approach my team before he was torn to shreds. It didn't matter how skilled the opponents might have been, they just couldn't do anything in that game. That Nasus could have been one of the best Nasus in the game, but his team was built in a way that couldn't support him, and my team was built in a way that completely stops him. I have a glorious record as Malphite. He's not the best pick in a lot of situations, but when the stars align, he's gloriously overpowered. I've seen selfish players lock in something super risky like Tryndamere first, so I just outright go for the killer counter and pick Malphite. Whatever thoughts of glory they had just come crumbling down. In a situation like that though, your teammate makes a selfish pick and you can essentially consider his worth deleted from the game. You can either choose to amplify him to help pad his weakness or to pick around his counters, like picking AP to counter the Malphite that's countering the Tryndamere. You could even try to pick something that would enable Tryndamere to go full split push mode and avoid teamfights and make the Malphite counter less effective. It's unfortunate that you have to punish yourself because your teammate is being selfish, but if you want to win, you sometimes have to do these things. Solo queue is like helping a blind person run a marathon in a scrapyard. You're forced to bolt ahead of them and remove any shit that would trip and hurt them. While you collapse at the finish line, they actually manage to pass it and get the medal without knowing what you ever did for them. As far as personal picks go, I feel you should always pick within reason. If your first pick, you either pick something general that allows you to fill anything your teammates might not pick at a moment's notice, or simply a powerful champion for your team to rally behind. All other selection orders, you play something that fits the situation appropriately. Think of it this way: your teammates pick no tanks and no peel. You're the ranged carry of the team. Would it be smart to pick someone like Ashe who is vulnerable to dives? If you pick her, then you cannot blame your teammates at all. Yes, they picked a poor lineup, but you picked into it. They are playing for themselves and you must be doing so as well. You're a bunch of strangers playing for yourselves in a game that requires teamwork. You all have different goals and you're doing your best to align them so you can snuff out a win. If you've ever watched my stream, I try to pick according to my team. I can pick outlandish things and make them work because I consider the factors of the game. Like if we need an initiator, I can consider champions like Malphite, Maokai, Jarvan, and Hecarim, and so on. If I need the initiator to be an AP champion, then I cut out Jarvan and Hecarim and I have Maokai and Malphite to choose from. From then, I can judge whether or not the value of Maokai's damage reduction is best or Malphite's anti-attack speed is better. To sum it all up, you cannot rely on your teammates to pick anything appropriate, and you can't assume your opponents will be terrible with their own decisions. You can pick whatever you want in solo queue as long as it makes sense in context of the situation. Or you could pick Nasus into a team that completely screws you over with slows and crowd control and be embarrassed.